right, now they are child journalists and child advocates, and they've been selected to be part of the COVID Under-19 International Advisory Group. I'm talking about Omar Ahmed and Brian King. If you've watched this show, then you know they're back here on set. We'll be talking to them later on to try and understand the young voices in the country. There's so many things that are happening, and also that where they've been selected, exactly what will they be doing? What kind of voices do they need to put out there so that those people who are at the position of making changes will actually listen to that and say, children of this world are speaking, and we are ready to listen. This is Lookup Weekend. My name is Brian Amwai. You can be part of this program by engaging us on our socials at Amwai Brian on Twitter, at Lookuptv. The hashtag to use is Lookup Weekend. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Felista Adundo. But first, these are the top stories tonight.
News headlines in association with
tonight on Lookup Weekend.
Hapa kwetu tunaweza pia lima sorghum ili every season wakemera wewe uwe unaweza pata 10,000, 20,000 kutoka kwa shamba yako.
Farmers in Mbeere, North Embu County, sensitized to grow sorghum as a cash crop as measures to mitigate drought are intensified. Also tonight,
you ready for this?
Mohamed Amin appointed as the new DCI boss, replacing George Kinoti. And
for us to have water the way we have water in this dam, we must mind about our environment.
President William Ruto officially commissions the release of water from Thiba Dam to rice farms in Kirinyaga County.
Yippee! Kamata floating at 349K. Oh yes, for only 349,000 Kenyan shillings, you become a plot owner at the Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki. The Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki is located along the Nanyuki-Rumuruti Road, only 11 minutes from the Cedar Mall and right opposite Mount Kenya Wildlife Estate. This is the best place to establish the getaway home that you have always dreamt about. For every 349,000 that you deposit or pay as installment towards any of Optivent's plot of land, you get 10K cash back instantly. Jaza basi twende Nanyuki. Bigger is indeed better.
now, we are live on Facebook, we are live on Twitter, we are live on YouTube. You can send your feedback on our socials and we'll be able to sample some of it at the end and during this program. Now, you can tell us where you're watching us from and also what you think about the stories we are running today and the discussion that we will be having later on the program. Let's start this program with what is happening in the country when it comes to matters drought. Now, in efforts to mitigate the dire drought in at least 23 counties, stakeholders in Embu County have come up with a farming program that will see the farmers plant sorghum as a cash crop to alleviate the crisis. This, as the government has also flagged off a consignment of 11 tons of relief food to areas that are hard hit. Our reporter Priska Njeri with the details.
Is the situation on the ground in Mbeere, North Embu County? After many missed rain seasons, dried up farms and a glaring hunger crisis. Mbeere North MP Geoffrey Kiringa, in cooperation with different partners on Saturday, launched a program to help farmers grow sorghum, which is a drought-resistant crop, adding that it will be sustainable and beneficial to the residents.
Soko ya sorghum iko. Na iko mahali naitwa EABL. Mimi nilienda hapo, tukakuwa na mkutano, nikawaelezea hapa kwetu tunaweza pia lima sorghum ili every season wakemera wewe uwe unaweza pata 10,000, 20,000 kutoka kwa shamba yako. Na hiyo 20,000, 10,000 ama hata 100,000 itakusaidia kwa mahitaji ya Mboma.
The government, in efforts to mitigate drought on Friday, flagged off 11 tons of food to be distributed to locals in the most affected regions under the leadership of the Deputy President's wife, Dorcas Gachagua. At least 23 counties are facing hunger, with 8 in the alarm stage.
Further reports indicate that there are 9 worst affected counties categorized as the red zone. These are Laikipia, Isiolo, Mandela, Garissa, Turkana, Wajir, Nyeri, Samburu, Marsabit, and another 14 which are categorized as yellow zone.
Priskanjari, Lookup TV.
All right, now Amin Mohamed Ibrahim is the new boss of the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, in the country. President William Ruto on Friday appointed Ibrahim from a list of 10 candidates interviewed for the position to take over from George Kinoti, who tendered in his resignation a fortnight ago. Ibrahim enjoys wealth of experience in matter security, working in top dockets in the same department. Our reporter now looks at the profile of the new DCI boss and why the office he is assuming is so crucial to the country, or to the security of the nation, rather.
When he appeared before the Police Service Commission for interviews for the new Director of Criminal Investigation,
Are you ready for this? Are you ready?
Amin Mohamed Ibrahim exuded confidence that he was the right man for the job from a list of 10 candidates shortlisted for the interview. He was the first to appear before the Eliud Kinuthia-chaired panel. On Friday 14th, his confidence came to a reality. President William Ruto appointed him the new director of DCI to take over officially from George Kinoti, who tendered in his resignation 2 weeks ago. Ibrahim enjoys a wealth of experience in criminology and security matters. Before his appointment to the DCI office, Ibrahim served as the head of Internal Affairs Unit at DCI Department. He had also led the CID Investigations Bureau and the Banking Fraud Investigations Unit. The DCI office is one of the most crucial departments in the security of the nation, and its far-reaching influence was elevated with the promulgation of the new constitution. Ndegwa Muhoro, who was appointed to the office by the late President Mwai Kibaki, heading the office for 7 years, received accolades and criticisms for his work. He was a man under siege for his failure to unravel mysterious high-profile murder of Kabete Member of Parliament George Muchai and businessman cum whistleblower Jacob Juma. He was also under pain to explain the brutal murder of IEBC Director of ICT Chris Musando. At one time, the then Prime Minister Raila Odinga, Amnesty International and Independent Police Oversight Authority sought his removal from office for incompetence. He, however, survived. He is nonetheless praised for strengthening the capacity of the DCI office through training of officers to equip them with adequate knowledge on security matters. Then came George Kinoti, the DCI boss picked while serving as a top officer in the police department. Kinoti was also under a sharp eye of the public glare. He built a strong reputation as a man who established influential contacts internationally. His close relation with FBI Bureau of the United States of America ensured that investigating officers were posted for further training in America, elevating the status of the DCI department. He is, however, blamed for weak investigations of criminal cases. A large number of cases he presented before the courts were struck out for lacking adequate prosecutorial evidence. The DCI office is a very crucial department in the country. It is responsible for collecting and providing criminal intelligence and undertaking investigations on serious crimes, including homicide, narcotics crimes, human trafficking, money laundering, terrorism, among others. This intelligence is particularly critical in securing the country. As he takes over the DCI office, Amin Mohamed Ibrahim has his work cut out. He will be required to ensure the nation is secure through constant supply of intelligent information. He will also be required to prosecute criminal cases to full conclusion to enforce law and order in the country. Henry Tende, Lookup TV.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Thank you so much, Henry Tende, for that. And I want to take feedback here. Congratulations to Ibrahim Mohammed Amin for being appointed as the new DCI boss. Amin is indeed a great fit for the job, and his appointment is well deserved. This is former Garissa Governor Ali Korane. Okay. Now, moving on, the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union has called on the government to streamline public health care system in the country. Now, the union said many lives have been lost due to lack of emergency care and skilled medical personnel in public hospitals. The latest incident at the Kenyatta National Hospital being the case of reference, KMPDU has called on improvement of the public health sector to deal with emergency cases in the country.
The county governments in this country, all the 47, none of them has been employed at least 10 doctors in the last 5 years. We are the back group where we have more than 4,000 unemployed doctors and many more unemployed specialists who then hope to offer the services in those buildings in the counties. But the counties have not employed them. So we're saying that the healthcare system as it is dysfunctional. We may, as a country, change the CS of the country, the CS. We may change the Director General. We may change the CEO of the National Referral Hospitals. We may change the boards of management. But if we do not go down to ensuring that the levels of hospitals as level 5, level 4 offer the services as they ought to offer with the personnel, equipment, and the products, then we will all come back here again giving outcries over issues that we see. But then we have to go down to the solution of the matter in the counties and nationally, as my brother has said.
Last week, a boy at the National Hospital lost his life after having a fork jembe lodged in his skull for almost 2 days. A scenario that the union says was preventable if at all there was quick action if the hospital focused on health and no profit.
Ile ngazi za hospitali ambao ziko mahali huyu kijana alipata ajali, tukaona kuwa alipewa referral kutoka dispensary na kupelekwa katika ile level 5 hospital ya Kiambu. Katika ile maktaba ya staffing ya inchi inaeleza kuwa hospitali kama level 5 inafaa kuwe na ule daktari wa upasuaji anaitwa na neurosurgeon, inafaa kuwe na anesthesiologist, inafaa kuwe na intensive care units ambao tunaita ni ile mahali ya kuweka wagonjwa ambao katika hali mahututi. Na tunao jambo hapa kuwa katika level 5 ili transfer to huyo mgonjwa bila kufanya au kumtibu huyo kijana.
According to the boy's mother, Judy Mudhoni, the hospital's management asked them to pay 20,500, which they could not raise, where the boy died waiting to be admitted and taken to the theatre. The union also decried the lack of skilled personnel in the sector and called upon the national and county governments to upscale the employment specialized healthcare officers in hospitals.
What then behoves of the national government is to take lead in training so that they can offlet some burden from the counties to continue their training. The national governments needs to take role, and this falls squarely on your feet, Mr. President. Don't let healthcare be run in 47 different ways like we're in a pariah state, whereas our fathers, our forefathers fought for independence that we can eliminate disease as a foremost virtue. Thank you.
Brian Amwai, Lookuptv, Nairobi. President William Ruto has today commissioned Thiba Dam, a project worth 8.2 billion that is set to boost and increase food production. Thiba Dam is expected to immensely benefit rice farmers in irrigation schemes during drought season in the country.
As he officially flagged off Thiba Dam in Kirinyaga County, President William Ruto has said that farmers will now use the water in irrigation schemes to boost and increase food production, which will in return increase their profits.
Na hii maji itaweza kutusaidia wakati wa kiangazi ndio tuweze kuzalisha mpunga katika sehemu hii, na vile vile wale wanaendelea na mpunga saa hizi na wale ambao wataongezea ardhi karibu kilomita 10,000, sasa tutakuwa na ardhi 35,000 ekari ambazo zitatumika katika kuzalisha mpunga hapa Mwea.
Ruto has assured Kirinyaga residents that his government, in collaboration with Kirinyaga County government, will build water canals for farmers to ensure they are supplied with enough water, especially for rice farmers in Mwea.
Hapa Kirinyaga ndio tunapata 84% of all the rice that are grown in Kenya inazalishwa hapa Kirinyaga.
President Ruto has reiterated that farmers will now be supplied with subsidized fertilizer at a cheaper price to enable them produce more food in affordable costs, with an aim to fight hunger pandemic in the country.
Your Excellency, I want to thank you. Umetupatia subsidized fertilizer na wakulima wangu wa Mwea wamasema asanti.
We want to commit that we shall support you in the National Assembly and in the Senate to ensure that all your policies towards the bottom-up economic prosperity of our country come to fruition.
Na mimi naambia wafanyikazi ya serikali, tafadhali serikali ya William Ruto haina haja kuhusisha nyinyi na siasa. Mrudi kwa kazi, msaidie wananchi kwa sababu hiyo ndio kazi yenu.
Kwa sababu ya hii jamu, sasa pesa mtakayokuwa mnapata kwa mwaka itaongezeka kutoka bilioni 10 mpaka bilioni 18 every year. Mimi nataka niwahakikishie ya kwamba tutaendelea kama serikali kuhakikisha kwamba mko na soko na tutashirikiana tayari.
Susan Jerry, Lookuptv.
Short break here on the program. Stay tuned and continue engaging us on our socials. At Amwai Brian on Twitter at Lookuptv. The hashtag to use is #LookupWeekend. And just a reminder that we'll be having a conversation about the young voices in the country, what their take is on things that are happening. You know, we have matters drought. What do they think about that? That coming your way in just a short while. Don't go too far.
Yippee! Kamata plotting at 349K. Oh yes, for only 349,000 Kenyan shillings, you become a plot owner at the Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki. The Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki is located along the Nanyuki-Rumuruti Road, only 11 minutes from the Cedar Mall and right opposite Mount Kenya Wildlife Estate. This is the best place to establish the getaway home that you have always dreamt about. For every 349,000 that you deposit or pay as installment towards any of Optivent's plot of land, you get 10K cash back instantly. Jaza basi twende Nanyuki. Bigger is indeed better.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Hapa kazi tu inaendelea kuwasaka na kuwatambua wale ambao wanafanya kazi extraordinary na zile kazi za kujituma.
Biashara yote unaambiangwa, as long as you have a plan, you can do it. Our service is about kufurahisha the customer.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni Hapa Kazi Tu.
All right, now thank you for staying with us here on the program. Moving on, illegal logging around riparian land and an increase in abandoned nets is the emerging challenge facing Lake Naivasha. According to reports, major streams flowing in the troubled water body have dried up due to the ongoing drought and an increase in cases of water obstruction upstream. Cecilia Lubanga with the details.
In the just-ended Lake Naivasha Environmental Awards ceremony, illegal logging around riparian land and an increase in abandoned nets was noted as an emerging challenge currently facing Lake Naivasha. According to Chairman Lake Naivasha Basin Landscape Association Paul Royer, increased cases of logging and farming on the riparian land has negatively affected the lake's ecosystem.
From the catchment, we have serious degradation following what we call poor agricultural practices. There is a lot of logging going on, and we are very, very, very concerned as an association, because when these trees fall, they're supposed to be left there, and nobody should take advantage of cutting these trees.
The ongoing drought has reduced water levels in nearly all the rivers flowing into the lake. According to Grace Nyambura, the lake faces many challenges, including increased cases of illegal fishing and use of undersized nets.
Initially, we thought that the Kenya Coast Guard will come here and save us or save the situation in the lake, but unfortunately, we still need some more law enforcers because the illegal activities are so high, and then it causes a lot of issues because of the nets being abandoned there, fish being killed, and those other things like birds. You see, the illegal fishermen also catches the birds and also affects the habitats of the hippopotamus.
Over 10,000 people in the informal settlement in the town are in dire need of food aid, a situation spiked by the ongoing drought.
This steering group ambayo mwenyekiti wake ni governor pamoja na county commissioner imesha keti na wameshatuma list of wishes ama vile vitu ambavyo vitahitajika, kwa sababu kwa Naivasha hivi ni kama watu 10,000 ambao tunaweza kusema kwamba we are looking at.
The ongoing conservation efforts in the lake and the catchment areas is expected to go a long way in addressing the water shortage. Cecilia Lubanga, Lookup TV.
Right, now let's get sporty here on the program. KCB rugby team is clearing up for a grueling face-off with its opponents in this year's floodlit rugby tournament slated for October 29th, 2022 at the Impala grounds. Now the Bankers are looking forward to defend the championship, which they won in 2019. The 2020 edition was not played due to the disruptions of the sporting activities occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, there's progress. It's been about 6 months since we played 15, so it's slow steps, small steps. There's no pressure. As I always say, it's just one game at a time. It's 3 weekends. Floodlight has been out for a while, I think, because of the pandemic. So it's good to have it back as well. Well, with training, everything will be right. If the systems are followed and the players just do their part and we do our part, then everything will be, the confidence will be there. Well, we're in it to win it. So from I think the get-go, that's what our goal is. So it's not going to be, probably, God willing, not a repeat of last time.
So far, so good. We are still ticking our boxes. We are changing the way we are playing from the way we played last season. So we still have a lot of work to do, and we believe that floodlight tournaments will be a very good platform to see how everything is going. But so far, so good. I believe we are ready to take on the tournament.
now we are done with news here on the program. Don't go too far. In just a short while, we'll be getting into that conversation with my guests in studio. I'll be telling you more about that when we come back. So don't go too far. Continue engaging us on our socials. At Amwai Brian on Twitter, that is at Lookuptv. The hashtag to use tonight is Lookup Weekend.
For all your football, F1 and World Cup kits, Carrington Sportswear Hub is your plug for quality, sporty merchandise. Reach out on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter at Lookuptv or call us on 0700 893 542.
Hi there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching us from. My name is Maki Wamboko, Sales Manager, Optiven Real Estate, and I'm here at our head office, Absa Towers, located at Rochester Street. Today, I'm here to talk about our newest project, that is Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki, and it is located only 10 minutes drive from Cedar Mall. And in this project, we have proposed that we will be having a GMC Entertainment Center. This will be a replica of what we have in Kitengela, GMC Kitengela. We are also proposing a police post, so you are assured that security, once you invest here, security is good. And we are also proposing to have a playing ground. We are also going to have a community ground. So once you invest here, you don't have to worry about the security. The other things, among the things that we are doing, or the things that we have done already in Great Oasis Gardens, we have already done the marking fence, and the roads, the internal roads are already happening. We have started the malaming the road, and we are still in the process of doing the malaming of the internal roads. And we are also sinking a borehole so that we ensure that our investors in Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki, will not struggle with water. We are also going to elevate a water tower so that we have a constant supply of water in this project. And we also have a caretaker on site. The caretaker is on site and he's there 24/7. And then we also have different sizes in this project. We are having 8, we are having quarters, we are having halves, and we are also having acres. One can buy in bulk, you can buy in big chunks, and that is why we are saying in Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki, we are saying that bigger is better. In this project, what you can invest in, you can invest in private schools. You can also do holiday homes, whereby you can do Airbnb. You can also do holiday homes and then you start renting, and you can also build houses and sell. You can also do apartments in this area. You can also do supermarkets. You can also build a mall and then you start renting. There is so much that you can do in this project because it is not controlled development. We are also located along Nanyuki Rumuruti Road, and this road is being proposed to be tarmacked by the government. So coming from Nanyuki, or coming from wherever you will be coming from, it will be very easy to access the project because it is touching the Nanyuki Rumuruti Road, which is going to be tarmacked by the government. My number is +254 722 355 107. Do not be left behind. Call that number. I will work with you. If you're in Kenya, give me a call. We go for the site visit. We select the project. We start the payment. If you're in diaspora, send a representative, and I will be delighted to work with you. And as we say here in Optiven, we shine because you make us shine. God bless you. Thank you.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Hapa kazi tu inaendelea kuwasaka na kuwatambua wale ambao wanafanya kazi extraordinary na zile kazi za kujituma.
Biashara yote unaambiangwa, as long as you have a plan, you can do it. Our service is about kufurahisha the customer.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni hapa kazi tu.
To be preordained.
All right, now out of 320, they emerged the best. We're talking about these two here, these my guests in studio. They are more of my friends, so to some extent I might actually not address them as guests. Thank you so much for making time and being here with us on the show, right?
We are quite excited to be here too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, amazing. It feels amazing to be back.
To be back.
To be back.
By the way, it has been 7 months now since the last time I hosted you, and I thought it was a year. Just the other day, though.
Yeah, it looks like it was just yesterday, by the way.
A lot of things have changed, eh?
Yeah, by the way, yeah. But still, people do see us in the
Yeah,
in the
if
show.
you watch Lookup TV, then you've seen them. You must have seen them most of the time, probably on Saturdays on Total News. This Omar Ahmed, thank you so much. Brian King, what do you call that?
Total News Insights,
No,
yes.
no. You have my name. So between you and I, who exactly went first?
Oh, by the way, it is Brian King and then him.
I don't know, you guys are quite confused. It's Gombo and the rest.
Oh, we don't. You see, we're talking about Brian's here. So.
Okay, away from that, now we are here because you are under COVID under 19. I want to understand that first, and also just the role that you're going to be playing there, because it's 320. You emerged the best. How was that for you first?
Well, it's quite exciting because globally, out of 320 at least, and it was quite amazing and surprising because two of us from Total News International got to be chosen. Like both of us are doing great things, and we got to be chosen. So it was really amazing.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want me to explain about the COVID-19?
I think he's going to do that, right?
Okay.
Because you are the young voices here, and
Yeah.
you represent your child advocates, and you're speaking about the young people. So exactly how important that voice is. And just before we get into how important that is, let me come to you and you give us a brief of exactly what COVID under 19 is.
Oh yes, I love that you mentioned children voices because that is basically what COVID under 19 is. COVID under 19 is actually a partnership of over 30 organizations. Yes, they bring children together to actually create an advisory team where children can actually sit down and bring issues to the table, and we come up with ideas on ways on how to solve them. Like for example, the UN has, currently the world is facing climate change, right?
The COVID-19 advisory team is will actually sit down and come up with solutions, children's solutions, because we believe that climate change is actually an issue that is facing us. It's basically about making sure that the child is seated at the table whenever issues affecting children are being raised. Yes.
Okay. Now, you see, before we started, somebody said, oh, these guys are very young. Exactly what are you going to discuss? But you see,
my friend,
somebody looks at you and they start dismissing and say, these are kids. What? No, not kids though. These are young people. So what exactly are you, do you get that a lot when you have to fight for space on the table and just say every other important thing, I think, in the nation that is happening across the country, across the globe, also affects children, and we also need to be put on that table to actually talk about it. Do people dismiss you for that?
Well, actually, it does happen because, you know, sometimes when you mention that you want to bring children in and get to talk about matters that are affecting the world and involve children in them, sometimes people may be like, no, I mean, no, children can't know anything. I mean, their voices are not that, you know, and all that. But when we actually get to sit with them and then we speak, and then they hear our voices and they hear maybe sometimes even the grammar we are using and all that.
Surprise.
Yeah, I know. Like, you know, they're usually like, oh, wow, so you guys know about this. Because sometimes we even mention the big organizations. Like, for example, if I can mention something about Article 12 of the UNCRC, it really states that a child has the right to express him or herself, to be able to get the challenges that they're going through and actually come up with solutions. So you see, when I mention something like that and someone didn't know, they're like, oh, wait. That's actually quite interesting. Yeah, and all that. So we do get that a lot, but we usually try to make our voices heard as child advocates.
Let me come to you, Brian. Do you feel like during the pandemic and, you know, during this period, because we are not yet out of the pandemic, the voices of, you know, children have actually been suppressed? Have you been given enough platform to actually express yourself and say, this is exactly what you want?
Well, no, you yourself said, you literally said we have to fight for a spot on the table. And that's just it. Because Omar literally said, when you are thinking about children, you don't think about smarts. You're like, children are the outcome of parents, as in we're usually subservient or something like that. So yes, our voices have been muffled to an extent where I can actually say our rights are being violated. Because it is actually the right of a child to, you know, be heard and his voice or her voice to be expressed and heard. And COVID-19, the name is literally COVID-19. This was formed because COVID is almost gone, by the way. Man, congratulations, and we're happy for that. COVID is almost gone, but the effects of COVID are still there. And children are actually the ones who are suffering the most. We're talking about malnutrition because of high cost of living, because of COVID. Children are the ones that are going to be affected the most. And so if they don't give us a voice, Amwai, my friend, we have to fight for it. And that is why me, Omar, and the team at Mtoto News and other places are also trying to fight for this. Like you, last time we were here, we talked about child participation in the media, isn't it? Well, we'll see.
Tunangoja tuone.
Still fighting for that.
We're still fighting for that.
Now, it is going to come. People who are watching and are at that particular table, that where decisions are made, when young men come up and say they want to be on the table, kindly include them, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Let's talk about the kind of voice that you need to put out there now that you'll be sitting on the board. What kind of voice will you be putting out there, and where do you think this is what my fellow children, or rather people who are under 19 years, will want to say about COVID-19?
Well, actually, one thing that I would really love to champion is the aspect of child participation. Because you find that most of the policy makers and all these people who make decisions, sometimes even the challenges that are actually affecting the children themselves, you find that they're making decisions for children without even involving them. That's why I would really love to champion that child participation itself. There's also the issue of street children. That's something that I've really fought actually in my organization with our directors, people like Colin Sorono and Caleb Mugane. We've actually done a lot of stories on that. And I've not found any initiative being formed to be able to fight street children, to, you know, be able to bring these children close to us, because they do have talent, they do have potential to do great things. Those are the two things that I really want to champion as soon as we get maybe to the board and all that.
Brian, let me come to you. We had COVID here in the country, and it has affected a lot of, you know, disrupted almost everything, every sector, education being part of it, and you know, now we are trying to get back to the norm, and their calendar was disrupted. Now from next year, probably, things will be normal. So if at all we were to have children sit on the table during the COVID-19 pandemic and let their voices be heard, what would it be for you guys?
Oh, first of all, there are two issues I want to break down there. The question you asked, what kind of voice do we want to bring there? You know, when people think of children, they don't really think of a meaningful voice. But then I know we have solutions to problems. Like currently we are running the 200 million trees campaign, right? That was an idea that was innovated by children of Africa. Children, not adults, children. So that is the kind of voice we're trying to bring, not actually voice, the kind of ideas we're trying to bring to the table, the kind of ideas we're trying to force you guys to listen, you see? Because they're there, right? The next issue is education. You asked us what would bring to the table if we're included in the table. Our voice. You know, education affects majorly, I think 90% affects children. We're not talking about the upper learning institutions like the university, TVETs and all that. We're talking about primary and secondary school. These are people under 18 years old, so technically considered children. If you guys are going to make decisions, 100% of decisions without including us children, that is not fair. It is not fair at all. And I'm one of, Umar, you can testify to this. I'm one of the people who have been fighting for children to be included in the academic boards. At least, even if it's not technically a child, children views. It is important. In the Constitution, the Constitution gives the Kenyan citizens the mandate to actually voice their opinion. Public participation is very crucial in ruling the country. We are also part of the public. We are also part of the public. So why don't we get that right as well? You see, the kind of voice we're trying to bring is when you're going to disrupt our academic calendar, you're going to force us to go to school, and you're going to force us to go home. You are not only affecting our academical cycle and our learning cycle, you're also affecting us emotionally. And when you don't get to hear us, that's why the rate of high school and primary even school dropouts is rising. The rates of teenage pregnancies is rising because we are trying to rebel. It is human nature to rebel whenever they feel oppressed. The same thing for children. If you make us feel like we are outlaws and we are outsiders, we will live like outsiders. So the thing is, for you guys to actually manage to face the academic system, you'll have to learn to include this. And I think the new commission, the recently launched Presidential Working Party, should actually work on that, including children and their voices.
Are we doing enough in terms of, from where you sit, because now you are advocates, do you see the country doing enough in terms of having you on the table to just have a voice on these particular issues?
You know, Brian, that's why the COVID-19 thing that we've been selected, that's why it was actually initiated, because it was the United Nations in partnership with 30 organizations, as Brian has said, they came together and they realized that during the whole COVID-19 pandemic thing, no child was involved. No child was actually sat down and asked, what would you have done in this situation? Why are children, there was a high case increase of teenage pregnancies in India, and no one sat down these children and asked them, why are there high risk of teenage pregnancies? We've had discussions at Mtroni's Insights, but then you find that the aspect of not involving children, that's why children get to do things maybe otherwise. But if you can invite them and get to talk to them and get to know what they're actually thinking, what they want to do, what are their aspirations, and these are the things that, you know, try and implement and then try to spearhead the rights of even the children. So you find that that aspect of not getting the children and that aspect of not talking to the children is what drives them away to actually do things that are not right. So you find that that's where the society goes wrong.
When you'll be on that board, for how long is it going to be again?
It's going to be a year.
A year.
Yes.
What, by the end of it, what do you want to have achieved? What would be the results from you?
I'd love to start with this. First of all, I'd love to have driven the climate agenda, especially for children, because, you know, we realize that you guys don't really care about the earth. So we want to show you that we care. I want us to push agendas like the 200 million trees agenda. I love that our current president, His Excellency Ruto, just pushed out a plan where every child's birthday, you're supposed to like plant 100 trees.
Yes.
That's nice. That's the kind of thing, that's the kind of change I want to leave behind. I want to make sure that adults actually listen to ideas. I want to make sure that the UN will actually be listening to the children whenever they're pushing out agendas. The AU, the ESC, major bodies will be listening. Even the cabinet, in the cabinet, there's a ministry for that. It's a social affairs. I think we're supposed to have a children's department there. Oh, KCA, the Kenya Children's Assembly.
Yes.
You asked us how the government interacts with children. This is something I want to push for. I want to make sure that by the time the year is over, I would have used the international body like COVID-19 to make sure that KCA is actually active and they're not just hearing, the government is not just hearing what they're saying, they're actually listening to them. That is the kind of change I want to live, you know. I want to make sure children are actually not just seen, but they're also heard and listened to.
Okay. Oma, to you. By the end of it all, what do you want to have achieved? When you look back and you say, okay, I started this board, this is exactly what it was, and I'm very proud of myself.
Well, actually, the 200 million trees is a project by Mtoro News, and it's something I really enjoy if we all pushed it in front. But I'm going to speak on matters of technology. I'm speaking on education specifically. You find that this is something that I've said before and I've said a lot. Most schools usually do computer studies, especially the schools in the, let's talk about the marginalized areas or the schools in the informal settlements. They do things like computer studies. They do things like art lessons, but then they don't have the necessary facilities or the necessary, those things that they need. Computers, first of all, you need computers to do computer studies. You need the art materials to do art, but you find that these schools don't have those things. So these are things that would want to spearhead, and you know, at least by the end of the year we see a little bit of change in that. And then there's the issue that I touched on, which is the street children. This is something that we really need an initiative that will be able to help these children actually. Because you know, most of the politicians in our country, when they are trying to get votes, by the way, they don't talk about street kids in Kenya, and it's something that's affecting them a lot.
It just happened the other day though.
Actually, yeah, it just happened this year and a few months ago. But what they do, they try to talk to the people who are giving them votes. That's why they say, we will be able to do this, we'll be able to do this. But all those, they touch on adults most of the time. That's why they don't even involve children. On children, they just speak on matters of education. We'll give you guys bursaries, and then after giving you guys bursaries, your children go to school. Do you know the challenges the children are going through in school? There's a high risk of suicide cases right now in schools. Like every week we have a video out there of a child saying, I've been beaten up, I have all these bruises on me, and I'm feeling like this and like this. We don't know the reason as to why that is happening. That's why we, as child advocates, we're here. And getting an opportunity like this for the COVID under 19, this is a really good platform for us to champion that. And to be able to talk about these things. Mental health, that's something that's very real, and that's something that most of our people out there need to understand. That's that's one of the many reasons or the many things that I'd want to talk about when you go to this COVID under 19 year.
And I want to probably out of something that you've mentioned in terms of you know, you have cases of suicide rising, and people, we have no idea what kids go through in school, but you see videos out there when they're saying this exactly happened to me. What is it that people are not getting in terms of kids and children in general?
Well, you find that, you know, the 2013 Children's Act said that the corporal punishment is supposed to be removed completely in schools. And then the latest Children's Act, now it's not even a bill, it's an act, has actually talked about corporal punishment. Nemesema, there's no such thing to be done in school. But then things are different in school. The way they say, kwa ground vitu ni different. When you go to schools, you find that children are still being beaten. Children are still being punished heavily. You know, there's that punishment, yeah, the child has done this, and then you're like, you know what, for this punishment, you, just sweep here, and then you're done. But then children are being punished heavily. So you find that children in schools are not having their peace. Bullying is still going on in school, but people do not know. And this is something quite funny. It's not even happening with the students. The students are not bullying these other students. It's the teachers. The teachers are the ones bullying the students these days. So that you find a teacher akishika huyo mtoto, when the teacher gets hold of that child, because the child has done a mistake somewhere, because children, we are children, we do make mistakes, and we need you guys to correct us. But sometimes you find that when the teacher gets hold of this child, when he or she puts the child down, he or she beats him thoroughly, and then the child ends up killing himself or herself. The child ends up injuring him or herself. And you guys ask, what's happening in our schools? We have videos.
We normally, in most cases, we say kids of nowadays don't want to listen.
No. Actually, I think it's the adults of nowadays, not the kids of these days of Gen Z and all that.
Yeah, Gen Z has actually been, you know,
people usually say that Gen Z looks, it's a discussion on itself, but still, that's why I mentioned something about mental health. People, the better children of Gen Z right now are suffering mental health than maybe even children of the other generation whatever that happened. So we need to talk about the Gen Z, and we've actually talked about this in Metro News, that children need access to therapy, by the way. Things like therapy, guidance and counseling should be done seriously in schools. You know, they usually just appoint a child to do that. How can you appoint a child to advise another child? Doesn't make sense, you know. But if we get professionals who can do this, therapy, psychologists, at least children can be able to learn and they can be able to talk about what they're feeling and what they're going through.
Now I'm running out of time, but you mentioned something about Gen Z and you said it's a conversation on itself. But this is the thing. Some people argue that this is the most woke generation ever. You don't sit down and say, this is toxic. If it's toxic, you walk out. You're not going to take it.
Well, it's true. This is the most woke generation ever. But the problem is, the Gen Z generation is still kind of under your generation, you see. We still have to follow your rules. And you guys are intimidated by how woke you are. So you end up stepping on us each and every time. Every single time we wake up and we tell you, this is actually our rights. And I think, Amwai, we should actually put all the adults into task here. You should go and read all the rights of the children. We have a lot of rights, you know, rights that are stepped on a daily basis, and you guys don't realize it. When we say it is our right, you tend to say, oh, you're being rude and everything. It is your duty as a parent, as a peer, to actually learn these rights and uphold them. Gen Z is woke, you guys are not. That's the problem. That's the problem.
Okay, now I have, I think, a minute or two. Listen, there's something happening in the country right now, and you're talking about drought. And from where you sit, where do you feel like the voice of a young person is missing in this current issue?
Well, from here, we're talking about some of the measures that were actually taken up to actually curb this, right? You know, we had a meeting with the special representative on the Office of the Secretary General of the UN, and we were thinking, what is this violence that is caused by children because of climate change? You guys don't realize this, but child marriage, FGM cases, child abuse cases, children will drop out because of this drought. Yet you guys are not actually thinking about us. You want to launch programs that are actually going to affect children because of food and nutrition. We are more than our bodies. You need to realize that. When you guys think you're usually like, we'll give them bursaries and we'll give them food, that's enough. It's not. It really isn't. If you continue to do that, our generation will grow up as messed up as yours. and that's the truth.
And maybe that is the problem, because we look at our generation and say this is the right way to go. So everybody else that is coming,
you destroyed the earth. You caused violence. As in, everything about your generation is just not right. And
is there anything good about this generation that is actually before you?
That's why I'm
it's almost
what we're actually saying is, you see now the 200 million trees, that project that's being done. That is what we did, is that we know that in Africa, according to statistics, we have 400 million children in Africa, around 24 million children in Kenya. So if we divide that into half, especially the one for Africa, 400 million, divide it into half, we have 200 million children. If one of them just plants a tree, just one of them, and here in Kenya we have 24 million, half of that, 12 million, plant a tree. By the end of, by 2030, around 2030, 2040 there, going through that time, we would have fought climate change. Itakuwa like not even, it's not even to affect us. And we all know that according to the research and statistics, that Africa is the most affected country by climate change, surprisingly. And hatunanga winter, hatuna autumn. So you find that if we do this and we follow these projects, initiatives formed by children, I would love to champion someone like Elian Wanjiku, who's doing a difference, making a difference in planting trees and all that. These are the people we want. These are the future children that we want and the future leaders. And allow me to finish by saying this, because I know we're running out of time. If we invest in children right now, then the future of our country and our world is way safe and is in better hands.
So to some extent, when it comes to matters trees, you are fighting for your future. That's the thing.
Yes,
because the people that have come before you,
you guys can just, die, we don't care.
Oh my God. oh, don't say that. Don't say that. You're still here. You need us to some extent.
No, not actually. No, I'm saying like, but let's face it, but the millennials didn't do much on planting trees and, fixing our environment. The ocean is messed up right now.
But we can still come together and do it. Come on.
Why I forgot to mention something. When we're relaunching GMOs and stuff, we need to consider the effect it's going to have on the children's health in future or something like that. We do not want to have cancer. Be careful of the food you're giving us, right? And something else, invest in children. I want you to follow the example of Mtoto News. Child-led things usually succeed. We are not the future, Amwai. We are the present.
Oh, you're the present.
Yes, and I want to leave you with a wise saying I actually learned. we do not inherit the earth from you guys. You guys lend it from us. So you guys damage our things. You actually owe us. So I think you can actually fix that by investing in programs like the 200 million trees program, investing in children like us, LEN, and all that.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Brian King, the child advocate and child journalist. But you're a journalist, I forgot to mention that. Yes. Very professional, trained, awesome human beings. Oh, I have it also an advocate, a child advocate, and a child journalist. Thank you so much for making time for this conversation here, to just listen to the young voices and what you plan to do in regards to so many things affecting the country, and also positioning yourself, you know, for future and also for the present. Like you said, you are the present, right? All right, that has been our time here on the program, Lookup Weekend. I'm out of time. Thank you so much for your time. Let's do this again next time. Brian Amwai, sign language interpreter tonight. She left, was Felista Adundo. Have yourselves a lovely night and a lovely weekend.